Welcome to Mishna study Masachet Shekalim Perek Mishna Aleph. Over here in this Mishnah, we're going to discuss the officials in the Bet HaMikdash. So the way HaRambam explains this is every generation there would be these ministers or officials in charge of certain things in the Bet HaMikdash. And over the years, there was some really great ones, maybe some that weren't. But these that the Mishnah lists over here are 15 ministers that were the best over all the generations. And they get a shout out in Masechet. These are the officials who were appointed in the Bet HaMikdash. Yohanan ben Pinchas ala Hotamot. Right, so it's really this Mishnah is brought here because of this line, and we'll see what these hotamot, these seals are. But Yohanan ben Pinchas, he was in charge of these hotamot, these seals, as we'll see in the next upcoming Mishnayot. There were these literal seals, like tickets that they would get. People who come to the Bet HaMikdash and they needed to bring their libations of oil and wine and flour. And depending on what kind of korban that they brought, it would have to be, shishitahin, revi'itahin, chatziahin, right? All different measurements, and they would give out these seals that they would use to purchase these libations. Ahya ala slatot, right? He was in charge of the solet. Matiyah ben Shemuel ala payasot, right? We know the lottery. We'll see this in Masechet Yoma, right? Which of the kohanim performed certain acts in the Bet HaMikdash, certain actions in the Bet HaMikdash. So there would a lot of times it would be through a lottery of who got to do what. Petahya ala kinim, right? Petahya was in charge of the nests, literally the birds. They would give out the birds for people that needed to bring, shne turim or shne bnei yonah as a korban. Ve'lama nikra shemo petahya, right? So just parenthetically, why is he called petahya? Shu potach b'draim v'dorsham v'yodea shiv'im lashon. He would open up, potach, petahya, he's potach in things, and he's doresh, and he knew 70 languages. And HaRambam points out that he is the famous Mordechai B'Lishan. Right? He is Mordechai, right? Who knew all the languages. That he came up from Bavel in the famous story of Purim. Right? That's Mordechai. Ben Ahya al Chole Me'aim. So Ben Ahya was in charge of the minister of health, right, for the Kohanim. Because a lot of times the Kohanim are working in the Bet HaMikdash. They're barefoot. They're dealing with water. They're walking on marble. They're wearing their clothing. And they're wearing 4 garments of clothing, right? A hat, a belt, pants, and a shirt. That's all they're allowed to wear, and it's made out of linen. So you can imagine they get sick. And he was in charge. Nehunya Chofer Shichim. He was in charge of digging up the cisterns, right? For people for everyone that lived in the Yishuv, or they lived in the desert, wherever it may be. He was in charge of digging up these wells and cisterns and ma'yanot, the mikvaot, right? So everyone had water. Givini, he was the kiroz, right? He was the kiroz, literally the one who shouted, who projected, he called out. That's an Aramaic word, right? From the language Vayaviru kol b'machaneh, right? Parashat Truma, it speaks about Vayaviru kol b'machaneh, avru kiroz, right? So they sent a memo. They told everyone, right? We have enough teruma, right? No more bringing money. That's the pasuk over there. Over here also, he would announce things. What would he announce? So he would announce. He would get up, at the time of the korban. So he would get up and he'd say, "Imdu kohanim la'avodah," right? Kohanim, get up for your performance of avodah. Leviim leduchan, Leviim come to the duchan for their singing. Yisrael ma'amad, right? So he would be in charge of yelling that out. Ben Gever al Neilat Hasharim, he would be in charge of locking up the doors of the Bet HaMikdash at sunset. Ben Bevai ala Pakia, right? So he would be in charge of the Pakia. Some people understand this. There's some Pirushim that understand this as the wicks of the menorah. HaRambam says the Pakia is the whip, and he will be in charge of a whip. Now, why do you need a whip? So the Kohanim and the Leviim, there was a mitzvah aseh deoraita to protect the Bet HaMikdash. And the Kohanim and the Leviim, they would actually surround, they would protect, there would be guards at the Bet HaMikdash, right? One thing that comes to mind is like Buckingham Palace, right? You have guards who are just standing there protecting, protecting the palace. Over here, the Kohanim would protect the Bet HaMikdash. And this is a mitzvah, even if there is no fear of entering the Mikdash, and they would do so. They would do so the entire night. And if someone fell asleep on the job, they would get whipped with this whip. They would also burn their clothes. And Ben Bevai was in charge of this. Ben Arazah al Silasal, he would be in charge of the cymbals. Right before the korban, they would bang these cymbals. Hugdas ben Levi al Ashir, he would be in charge of the shir, literally the singing, but he was basically the Rosh HaMeshorerim, right? He would be the lead Hazan, right? That's who he was. Hugdas ben Levi. Bet Garmu al Maaseh Lechem Panim, right? This family was known for their making of Lechem Panim. Bet Avtinas al Maaseh Ketoret, right? They knew how to do the Ketoret best. El Azal al Parochot, he would be in charge of knitting the parochot, and Upinchas HaMalbush, he would be in charge of the Malbish, right? He would be in charge of getting the Kohanim dressed, right? He would take the Kohanim, maybe the dry clean, put their clothing away. So he'd be in charge of all that. And as we said, these are the top ministers of all the years in the Beit HaMikdash. And the Beit HaMikdash, they served the nation, right? It was almost some type of form of government. They had responsibilities. And these were the best ministers over the years who took care of those responsibilities.